I was sort of an actor at school and that sort of thing, and film education wasn't really available to us. So it never occurred to me that what I really wanted to be was a director. And in my 20s, early 20s, I just worked in Soho in London in the film industry, like working in offices, being a runner, whatever I can. I'm not getting paid at all, so I had to have other jobs. And then eventually, after sort of learning my own way of making films through being on people's film sets, other people's student films, I went to a drama school at a time when education was much cheaper in England, and managed to getting a directing degree at an acting conservatory where I worked 12 hours a day, usually sometimes 6 days a week, and it was fantastic. It was a place called Drama Centre, and at the end of it they let me do a graduation film, and it was Hadley TK-421, and they usually put out theatre directors, but they let me be a film director, which is fantastic. And I sort of became the kind of director who really loves making technically beautiful looking films and everything like that, but also I love working with actors, and I feel like I get the best of both worlds through that approach. And it's still something that, you know, hopefully for the rest of my life I'll keep perfecting those two things together. But yeah, that's sort of how Hadley came together. And then thanks to you guys, European Independent Film Festival, and a few other places afterwards, yeah, sort of things just kind of took off. A couple of things. One that I think about a lot, and I think a lot of people do, is that the universe is completely indifferent to us. Whether you believe in a higher power or not, like, the universe is huge. And I don't want to spoil the short film for anyone who hasn't seen it, but basically the culmination of it is sort of in essence that idea that you never know what's going to happen next. It could be completely unexpected. Also, I really love black comedies like the Coen brothers, and I love rhythm in storytelling, and I just knew that it's one of the few times where I was guaranteed a budget and I could kind of do whatever I wanted. So I decided to, yeah, talk about the indifference of the universe and try and make people laugh. And also, one thing I did do, which I'm currently doing again for another project, I looked at what every single short film was doing at the time and tried to stay away from that. So anything set in a car, in an apartment, or anything like that, which doesn't make it a bad short film, just that I wanted to give the audience something unexpected for a short film. I have to first of all just say the team at ECU were just fantastic. Always in touch, even because I wasn't able to make the actual screening of my film. I was able to go to the festival, but sadly not the screening, but I had a producer there. And it sounds like it was the best screening of any of my work, so I was a bit gutted. But what I loved about ECU, during that festival and afterwards when I'd been at Cannes and I bumped into members of the festival there, is that it's probably one of the only festivals where I feel like there's a continued sense of community. That I think with a lot of other festivals, and definitely not ECU, it is a money and film game, and it's about getting the shorts in and getting them out. Whereas ECU really does, and did then, feel like a community, like a place where film came together. Like a perfect example I give you with the festival was I was in the student film category, but actually my film was being screened also before feature films. I think it was a adaptation of an Irvine Welsh book. There was a feature film, and you played Hadley before that, and that meant the world to me because it meant that it got to a much bigger audience than other festivals would, where they would put them in just blocks. I think that idea of championing short films, because that's what we have to do. You know, no one makes a short film to make money. We make it to make the film. And I feel like ECU, yeah, out of everything, and that was a lot of festivals for Hadley, ECU always stuck out as the one that felt like they were really supporting filmmakers. And it's been nice, like now we're having this chat, ECU have always sort of come back into my life in different ways. As with my feature film, I ended up coming up with a story, the feature film was The Good Neighbor, that I thought was really interesting, and then I realized it was linked to something personal to me. So for The Good Neighbor, I made a film about a woman coming to terms with multiple sclerosis with a bit of science fiction. And really that was about my Crohn's disease. And I only realized that while I wrote it. And recently I've been developing, for a few years, I've been developing a feature film based on what it's like to grow up mixed race in sort of, I guess, in the Western world. with it sort of like a Jordan Peele film, but really hopefully it's a Jonathan Reid-Edwards film. I mean, film funding in the UK is practically non-existent. It's very limited, and a lot of our films come from America through the UK. So I've just been basically writing scripts on spec for free, and I've currently, fingers crossed, I'm putting a budget together and getting some money for what will be my next short film that will hopefully help make the feature film from which it comes. And again, it's about growing up mixed race. It's sort of a coming of age horror. And again, yeah, the inspiration for that, at the time, I thought it was a really great idea. And then I slowly realized it was obviously reflecting what I see in the mirror. So I don't always recommend filmmakers just do something massively personal, but sometimes it can give you, how can I put it? It can just really get the creative juices flowing. And for this film, as we're speaking now, I've got about 25% of the budget put together, and we're just looking for more investment at the moment. But we're excited. We've got like a really good casting crew. Christopher Eccleston's attached to play one of the characters in it, which we're really happy about. And yeah, hopefully next time I speak to you, it will be because the film will be at the festival. So we'll see. But yeah, I also teach at Lambda, the drama school, film and visual storytelling. Film is a non-verbal medium. It started out without any real text, and it was a new way of telling stories. And I think, yeah, the non-verbal storytelling, the visual non-verbal, is where film has its strongest power. You know, how we can, with a really good film, a fantastic film, you should be able to turn the sound off, turn any subtitles off, and you should still know what the film's about. And I think that is the power of cinema, is non-verbal. And again, I would say writing is non-verbal as well. Like a really good script, a really well-written script can have, you know, no dialogue whatsoever in it. And one of my favorite films recently was Wim Wenders' Perfect Days, about a toilet cleaner in Paris. And the way I described this, the first like half hour is him just cleaning toilets in Tokyo. And sorry, I think I said he was cleaning toilets in Paris. I meant he was cleaning toilets in Tokyo. The first half hour of this film is this man cleaning toilets in Tokyo. And I tell you, it's the most beautiful thing I've seen for years. And you wouldn't expect it to be like that, but the power of cinema turned the everyday into something just beautiful. And I think that's kind of sometimes our job. We're there to entertain and provoke, but also just to make people realize how beautiful the world around them can be, and how horrifying, I guess, at the same time. So yeah, non-verbal visual storytelling, that's pure cinema for me.